I'll call this meeting of the Board of Aldermen Public Works and Utilities Committee meeting to order. Roll call, please.
We have 5 of the 7 members here. Ward and Morath are absent.
Okay, so 4 of the 6.
You are a dual member?
Oh, okay. All right. Join me in a pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks.
All right. Comments from citizens? When do you want to do introduction? You want to do it now or wait?
We could do introductions. She's on the agenda under 4C1.
Okay. All right. So, if citizens have comments, go ahead and make them. If not, I'll close that. All right. Water and Sewer Department. Okay. You ready?
I'm good. I'm ready.
All right. Water and Sewer Department.
Ready.
Activity report. So you worked on an oil for hydrants?
We had a couple hydrants that were really working kind of tough, and every so often you have to get in, put oil in them to lubricate them, working, open, shut, and
Okay.
helps them somewhat work a little bit better,
Okay.
depending on the age of them.
How long do those usually last?
We got some that are in 1930s.
Oh, my
They
goodness.
work great.
Hey, you're still working?
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep it. Thanks. Any other questions on water? Sewer?
I will make a comment that we need to stop raining pretty quick. We're gonna have to watch what we're doing with our water in the lagoons. They're getting pretty full.
Okay.
That rain tonight really helped.
Yeah.
Wow.
Bring that up.
I'll put it in question.
Have you looked
at the
radar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have been, I sent some to Jeff Sims this last week, and I may be able to send some to Benoit's to kind of top things off. We just gotta get through these next couple of days, and we got, I think we can do that, no problem, but we're getting really close.
I think that they're not irrigating very much.
Not really. They have been putting some herbicide and stuff on, but it's just,
There's
hasn't
not
been
been-
pretty long enough.
Yeah, there's not been much call for water for irrigation
Yes.
this summer. I guess the good news, the silver lining, is that this is a record year in terms of rainfall. 13.3 inches in June, and we're still within our banks. Now, maybe 14.5 and we're not, but I think there comes a point which DNR has to understand, and I'm sure we're not the only one facing this problem.
We are allowed to discharge. I mean, we have a partial discharge system, so we can, if it gets to that point. I'm just trying to keep this as clean as possible, so when this new permit comes out, we can say we haven't had to do this, so.
Right.
And the overflow is really saving us right now, so.
Okay. All right.
You want to talk to Jeff and see if he can, find more land real quick? Dry land.
All right. Any other discussion about sewer? Other, the MRWA and DNR board training opportunities in Columbia, July 28th.
Mike might want to pitch in here, but both DNR and the Missouri River Water Association have sent us flyers about pretty much an all-day training and it's designed for boards and managers, management. I've heard it's pretty good. I might go. I've got the week before, I'm going to spend 2 days learning about floodplain management. Every now and then, if I'm in the office, it's helpful. So I'm reluctant to take another day, but if you want any more additional information, Mike has more than once come to me and said, this is good, try and get the board or the committee, whichever one you're feeling like, to attend.
I wouldn't mind attending here.
And it's free.
Can you, is it a rain day?
Possibly.
It's in Columbia, so it's not.
We'll get it at 50-50.
At Boone County, is it consolidated #1?
I think that's right.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
It's district #1, and there's only one, isn't there?
Yes, consolidated in one.
I'll let
Okay. All right.
I think majority of it will be done by Missouri Rural Water.
Yes.
They do an excellent job. I've actually attended one of those sessions just to get hours to finish out a certification. And they cover all bases. They do this for the office professionals, women in the office and everything. And they try to cover everything with our jobs, city office down to us. And I think they do a really good job, and they like to answer any questions, and they see the same thing in every town, so might be some useful stuff for you.
And they will cover some stuff that's been covered by MML, like open meetings and that sort of thing, but you can never get too much.
Okay. All right, thank you. Public Works.
Everything looking good with the paint sprayer. You see it.
Yeah, it's the one we used last year, and we just haven't got a chance to use it yet, so hopefully it'll start being a little drier so we can get everything painted here pretty soon.
Doesn't that help spread the water, paint out a little further, make it go further?
When it's wet, yeah.
Drains out. We just paint everything.
The lines are a little wider. is all.
Yeah. All right. Overlay update, streets.
I actually talked to Tom Christensen this morning, and we have been pushed back to probably middle of August. 'Cause everything they've been doing has been getting pushed back, and they've got a bunch of stuff with schools and stuff that they're trying to get done before school, and I said, that's not a problem. I mean, that's what it takes. I mean, we can wait.
The other start date was today, the original start date, so. So whatever you guys know how to do to make it stop raining.
I'll see what I can do. All right. Additional handicap parking downtown.
I just wanted to approach this at the committee level. One of the recommendations from the Troy Balthazar, thank you, and what was that we add 2 handicap parking spaces on the inside of the square, somewhere near the curb cuts. Based on my observation, I think we could do that without significantly crowding space, and it really wouldn't cost any more than a little blue paint.
I think if those would be the outside spaces.
Right
Well,
across
I was
from
thinking about putting them right next to the middle curb cut.
Yeah, like right across from Richie's Hardware, right across from the.
Right, so this would be so you get to the square. Is what there are already on the outside of the square, spade on the corners. So, but I mean, I'm open to putting it towards the corner as well. That's kind of how, I think that's how they had requested it, but.
Well, then I say in the middle, we've already got one space or something on each side that's already blocked out, so I mean, that could be part of like the band spot.
Right.
And I think that spaces there, because if you shuffle, that screws up all your lines.
Well, I don't think you have to. I think you could just use that as part of the loading area.
Yeah.
You could take the spot right beside it.
So you kind of get credit for the space we can't use now.
Well, that's true, but on the other hand, most of the time that's open for parking anyway.
Right.
So they can park there regardless,
Right.
because there's not that much parked over there anyway.
There's supposed to be a certain percentage of parking spaces designated for handicap accessible anyways. So
there's
We
a,
probably meet that guideline.
it's
Yeah,
it's not
I don't
it's
remember what it
it's not a law, but there is a guideline. There's a suggested guideline, and I think it's one for every 2 months in that
Is it?
situation. But anyway, to do that, we actually have to, all the parking spaces that are handicapped are established by ordinance, because if you park in them and you don't have a valid reason to park in them, there is a fine associated with it. So I'll bring back an ordinance, probably July 20th. So we can do
On
that.
the other hand, those ones right near the middle of blocks are also used for loading and unloading for other things that go on in there.
I'll tell you what, I'll bring it back with an alternate.
Yeah.
So we can do one or the other.
That would be fine.
That would be good? All right.
Sanitation.
Heidi Sims actually came to me earlier this summer and said that she had a daughter, Danielle, who is here with us, who was looking for a summer project. Heidi had worked with on some committees in Blue Springs. Yeah, I want to say at least some Blue Springs with Eric Johnson, the guy I know through Missouri City Managers Association. We got to talking, and I said, yeah, there is a project we've been looking at studying this summer, which would be a good project for a young lady who's interested in municipal government. And so Danielle's been working on looking at a recycling program. It has a short presentation and then some recommendations for staff.
If you could get the lights down.
Yes, that would be it.
Alright, so my name is Danielle Sims, as you all know, and I've been working with Matt in the city of Centralia, volunteering with him, and we've been conducting a study on how to make our recycling program more efficient and just overall our recycling program. So the first part of our study was to determine the current level of participation. We did this by counting houses on Google Maps and riding along in the recycling truck, thanks to Phil. So this was actually quite easy because there is a 10% participation rate. So also our diversion rate is 2% in our curbside recycling and 3% overall in our entire recycling program. Just to give you a point of reference, Columbia's diversion rate is 17% and the national average is 34%. So there will be another study of participation at the end of the summer. So the next part was to determine how much it actually costs to recycle. So not all costs were included. Things like collection and maintenance were left out. So this is our current expense report, if you will. Our plastics are sent to Ryan Enterprises and all of the materials are sent to Civic Recycling. We take about 1 trip per week. And I will examine this. Okay. Technical difficulties. So, 1 trip per week, and so that makes up some of our costs. So our cost to dispose is $539. Ryan Enterprises charges us a $300 fee, and also part of this cost is our gas money and salaries for the waste management team. The weight removed from trash can be actually directly diverted or converted into $134 because there is a fee to dispose of our trash. So the overall cost to recycle is $405 per month. So we have proposed an option of taking our materials to Columbia. Now, our cost to dispose is only going to be $145 because Columbia does not charge us to use their facilities. And the trip will be shorter, so that would be less gas money. So the weight removed from trash is the same because we expect to have the same amount of materials. So if we do this, the cost of recycling will be $11 per month. So, with some future change in the air, there will be no change to the residents except that they can recycle more materials and change their 5 groups of sorting to 2. So that would be nice. And we would also have to coordinate with our waste management team in our new and old facilities about our change. So some ideas that we have in progress to complete this study would be to add recycling bins in schools, which is where I learned how to recycle. And so also we would do a recycling program presented to the younger kids. We're also looking into purchasing a recycling truck. Now this would help us because of the compaction mechanism, because that way we would be able to take less trips. So, and we are currently working on creating publicity material to put in the biannual newsletter in the Farside Guard. Are there any questions?
How long did you spend on this study?
I have been working since around the first week of June, so basically just in summer.
That's outstanding.
It is very good.
That's just outstanding.
Bill, how many loads of rock are we getting from quarry?
We haven't been hauling rock back, just for the expense of it, just to buy it, haul it. I mean, it just wasn't making sense after a while, so. And the cost of it down there was more than I'm getting it from Overson's.
Okay.
So we haven't been really hauling any rock.
So thank you guys for supporting me in this endeavor, and have a good
More
evening.
questions?
More questions?
When you say you're going from 5 groups to 2 groups,
Yes.
what are the 2 groups?
We will have we will have a paper group and a other recyclable materials.
Paper basically
because-
everything else.
Yes.
Columbia calls it fiber and then
Yeah.
containers, basically.
But
Okay.
it's just paper.
So
And that's based on how
instead of
they're,
having to separate everything, we could potentially put everything in 2 separate bags, all your paper products and everything else.
Yeah.
So we can pick up 2 bags, put it in the truck and go.
Because at Columbia,
Yeah.
they sort it there, so.
Yeah. They have their own yard and they store everything.
But then does that negate the compaction on the truck option?
No,
No,
we're looking
we-
at
we-
trucks that have
it's a
2.
split truck.
Yeah, so you can put paper in one side and then everything else in the other.
One trash truck, but
It's split in the middle.
split
Yeah, 2 hoppers.
split hopper truck,
Yeah.
yeah.
Got 2
Columbia's
separate hoppers that run in the back. It's
But
divided right
to
down the middle.
simplify the sorting, that's a huge thing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's your big time
Yeah.
consumer, right, right there.
And it adds more paper products. Right now, all we have is newspaper.
It's paper, yeah,
Yeah.
and then she said Columbia can take pretty much all like
Magazines
cereal
and-
boxes,
Yeah.
magazines,
Junk mail?
everything. And right now, basically all we're taking is newspaper,
Yeah.
you know,
And so
notebook
office
paper.
paper is
So,
a big part because the schools have so much office paper,
Yeah,
like I
sure.
probably recycle like
so
that
we
much.
would actually could increase what we take.
Sure.
Yeah, so.
The trip is the same length. If we do those 2 sorts, all the fibers in one pile and all the containers in the other, and they are right now accepting all 7 plastics. You know, the plastics are numbered roughly based on the chemistry.
Yeah.
Right now, Ryan, for a long time, Ryan Enterprises was the only one who was taking all 7 plastics.
Yeah.
And so we didn't have to pull out the junk before, I guess originally we took we took everything out that wasn't 1 or 2, and then took it down to Civic.
Yeah, we bale it separately and then haul it down to Civic.
Yeah. So they have, and visited with the Sims, went down to their processing plant, and she can tell you all about the 2 sort lines. But that's how it's based, and why we can take additional fiber materials.
That would increase compliance too. And just simplicity.
Yeah.
It should increase participation.
Well, it could also increase amounts of stuff. I mean, like, you know, if you can start recycling your cereal boxes, your magazines, I mean.
it's a mindset.
Yeah.
It's a mindset.
And the cost, once you tip the truck, I mean, you have to run a separate route, we're already doing that. Once you tip the truck full of recyclables, it's free as long as we do those 2 sorts. If we drive the same truck up the hill and dump it on top of the landfill, it's $41 a ton.
$41 a ton down there right now.
So we go from spending roughly a little over $400 a
Yes.
month down to $11 a month.
Yes.
After you do the collection.
Correct.
But that's the same either way.
That's kind of like a no-brainer. You know,
Well, yes, but there are other considerations. I know Gary Ryan, his family owns 14 farms in this area. They do a lot of shopping in this area. He has lost the Columbia business on his plastics because they are now, they've gone into a contract with a contractor who is taking their plastics for free. And that's why they're taking it for free. However, their business model is based upon the price of petroleum, crude oil, being expensive. Because they are trucking that to Alabama or Mississippi, where it is being ground up and then is to be reused. If the price of crude oil stays down, that may go away completely. And then Columbia is going to be looking right at the same situation that they were before. What are we going to do with our plastics? Nobody wants it. So, you know, Gary has business. We're his last big customer for plastics. If we take that away from him, he will go out of the business. If he does go out of the business, he will not come back into the business later on. The question is, you know, $300 a month, that's $3,600 a year. That's $3,600, that's a fair amount of money to most people. That's peanuts in our budget. Should we support a local business or should we not?
But she's brought up a point, she's brought up a point, at least something, I've never heard that kind of talk around here before. Now, we could do something different, I commend you. That's, we don't make change unless someone says it.
Yeah. Right.
We just go merrily along our way.
And, you know, and we could go with everything else going to Columbia like that, and just the plastics being left out. You know, or we could go with all of it. But, you know, ultimately speaking, one of the cheapest things to do, and if Columbia takes it for free, then that's fine. But if Columbia starts charging for it, then it's actually cheaper to take most recyclables just take them to the landfill and get rid of them. Short term, that's great. Long term, environmentally, that's not very good.
And I spoke with Gary also today, and what Don is saying is exactly what he presented to me, is that he's got a business that he has lost a lot of his product to Columbia now, that they'll take all the different grades, different chemical sorts. But the citizens of Columbia put pressure on the city to start recycling all 7 recyclables, and the political pressure plus the opportunity of this current vendor, who and the reason why, as Don pointed out, low fuel prices means low cost for virgin plastic, because that's what plastic's made out of. We probably figured that out, but of course shipping goes down, but proportionately the cost of the virgin plastic is a bigger hit. The question is, what does Columbia do if that goes away? Do they start charging us? Or do they start charging outside vendors? Do they tell their citizens they can't take 3 through 7? Because a lot of them will still have it. So, you know, we would be at the mercy of what Columbia does with 3 through 7 plastics. If we did this. On the other hand, Gary has been, when I was with the Solid Waste Management District, I helped him get some of his first grant. Well, I don't know, I helped him, but I helped him through the process, and he was awarded grants. So I'd love to see Gary Ryan's business keep going too. He's well known in this area, he's a good guy. I worked with his daughter on the street fair committee, he's a great guy. But when I was thinking about this, how viable is a business? It depends upon Centralia's plastics. So I'd like him to succeed. He won't starve either way. He's got
He's got, I mean, he farms, he's got other things going on.
Right. He's not gonna,
This is a side business.
right.
He doesn't draw income off the side business.
So who are some of his other customers that,
Well, he makes a product, as
He
opposed
makes-
to this, yeah.
He makes plastic, fence posts, T-posts, and he makes, like the concrete bumpers,
Okay,
parking
right.
bumpers. He makes those, they're plastic, they're
Recycled.
They replace, they
Yeah.
replace the concrete bump.
right?
So as opposed to the person who Columbia's selling it to, who is a broker essentially and finds other companies to make a product out of it, I think.
Yeah, they're essentially a broker, what I understand.
So,
And their business model is, we have a place to get rid of it. If the price of crude, it stays up, they make money because then they can, they can make the virgin plastic at a cheaper, rate. If the price of crude goes down, they actually, it's costing them more, so
Yeah.
it becomes a less viable thing for them. So if the price of crude stays down for a significant period of time, that option may go away because they can't support their business model.
one of the things we can do though, I think Phil and I are gonna try and, we've got a load of recyclables that's ready to go, so we're gonna try and set up, to drive down to Columbia and see, before we start changing people's habits, we need to make sure that we can deliver it. The split hopper truck, I think Columbia said that they might have some used ones for sale. It's possible that we can get a grant to purchase one as long as we use it almost exclusively for recycling, or,
Which shouldn't be that hard to do.
shouldn't we? Yes. And
I
we could
know-
store,
I know somebody that's on the solid waste management district board, so.
they might not be allowed to vote on their own grant if the rules are the same as they used to be. But, no, I think it'd be very viable, just, but we could start, if we take the materials to Columbia, we could start accepting cardboard, chipboard,
All
and
the paper products.
et cetera, the other paper products almost immediately. So one of the next step from the staff point of view, like Danielle mentioned, working with the waste management team, is to look at the logistics of actually delivering recyclables. So currently, we collect them in these large, what's the material, plastic-like bags.
They're kind of nylon.
Yeah, and then they're lifted out. Civic can lift them out and dump them and return them to us. When we went down first time, Columbia suggested they might take them out if we had a second set, but we don't have a. So we got to work out the logistics of delivering the materials in the current vehicle and look at options for delivering the materials in a different vehicle. If that won't work, right? So before we proceed much further, and it would be, so this summer we'd like to make some decisions. Might be something that gets discussed at comprehensive planning, but looking at improving the recycling program. These are some of the things that Danielle studied are very useful.
Do you know how many employees Gary has?
I think he pretty much says it himself.
Oh,
It's pretty much him and some family once in a while.
Yeah, I think his brother has.
Yeah.
all right, thanks.
Is glass recycled?
Columbia recycles glass.
We take glass, we send glass.
We've been separating it. If we took it to Columbia, we would no longer have to separate the different colors. I think, Danielle, did you get contact with any? There's two major glass recyclers in the state. Ripple, which is sort of an offshoot of Boulevard Bear, and then Strategic, it used to be called. Yeah.
So basically, we would have to separate now where we take them out.
Yes.
And we take it to Columbia, we ain't gonna separate nothing.
Well, containers from paper, but other than that.
But paper, plastic, glass,
Yeah.
plastic, glass all goes
Cans,
together.
everything.
And
Cans.
paper goes together.
Yeah.
So there's no separating besides that.
Even the
That
cans.
seems like it saves money right there.
Cans, plastic bottles, and glass bottles are all in the same bin. And then the paper, newspaper, cardboard, cereal boxes, all that goes in the other bin. So,
Sounds like it saves money to me.
I mean, theoretically, if we had to.
Our time, what do you all have separating recycling?
Oh, we spend a couple hours a day
Couple hours a day?
on the routes, yeah, at least.
Yeah. And here we won't have to spend no time separating.
It would make it easier to collect it at the curbside, that's true.
And you could dump it potentially just once a week, drive down and dump the truck. End of the week, go dump it, and then you wouldn't have any recycling stored inside the building anywhere.
And even if we made it a 3-sort, keeping the plastic separate to continue working with Gary Ryan, it's still going to be much simpler.
Well, I mean, the rest of it makes absolute sense.
Yeah.
The only question is what we do with the
What's fuel
plastic.
cost? What does it cost us to run down there? To Gary's? Or to wherever?
It's almost an hour down there.
Hour down there, 30 minutes to
Yeah,
Columbia?
no, I mean, they gave you the cost of the ground $405 a month.
We spend, 2/3 of the day when you're hauling it off, time to load it, drive down there, unload it, drive back, 2 trips.
So there's no sense in taking plastic down there an hour away.
And when you originally set the program up, we were also, there's a quarry directly across Route J from Ryan Enterprises. And I think we were bringing the rock back. And in addition to that, we had to spend a somewhat significant amount of time removing 3 through 7 from our plastics to take it down to Civic, or Civic would stop taking our plastics, because if you don't have a marketable product, you don't take it. So there was a good reason to do it then, but I think there's a better solution now. Keeping in mind what Gary and what Don said on Gary's, and what he told me, the same thing exactly. You do run the risk of the end vendor going away. I still think Columbia is going to be under political pressure to come up with some sort of solution.
Oh, yeah, I bet they would.
And I think what I told Gary is maybe he needs to talk to Columbia and make sure that they keep giving him at least some feedstock, so he may be around if they lose their other vendor. But that's between Gary and the city of Columbia. I mean, I like Gary, so I don't, I've spent 7 years working with solid waste district and would love to see every one of these startups in recycling succeed. The question for you guys to determine is that enough of a reason to keep us doing that?
I would say if it saves the city money, then we better go with the way that saves the city money.
Like Matt said, we don't have to make a decision tonight.
I think this young lady should be commended for her work.
I concur. Thank you, Danielle. You did a very outstanding job.
How old are you, young lady?
I'm 14.
Outstanding. Look what you can do. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And one of my favorite part of the presentation of the machine didn't do what it was supposed to. At 14, she could figure out how to fix it.
What are you talking about?
When the little thing popped up on the screen, didn't skip a beat. Said, "I need to get rid of this." The rest of I would.
Didn't run my page out while we were throwing it out on Rollins Street.
Very good.
All right. Good job.
Extra pickups at school, etc.
Came up during. I'm guessing I'm cold-hearted, but if we are charging extra pickups for commercial entities, with the exception of public events like Relay for Life or something like that, if the schools or a church or the any other non-for-profit or whatever generates additional trash, I would think we would charge them for the extra trash collection. If not, I will tell the staff not to. Just like if they used additional electricity, with the exception of Anchorfest, we would charge them for the additional electricity. Maybe I'm just cold-hearted, but that's the way that's what I suggested to the staff, and that was startling to some people on the staff. So maybe there's a better answer, but that would be my
So we currently charge the pizza shop down the street if they have to call for an extra pickup.
Well, it started with, we had a handful of businesses that would ask for an extra pickup maybe once a year, then it was twice a year, then a small number of them were doing it regularly. So we just said, you can either, pay the per week, 2 week, twice a week pickup, once a week, or if you usually do twice a week and you need a third pickup, we're gonna charge you, it was $5 from the third pickup. And maybe $11.
Makes $11. Okay.
So I'm just saying we should charge you $11 to the school if they generate additional trash, unless it's a public event.
Like a basketball
encouraging
game or a
recycling.
football game or, no, I mean, those aren't public events.
They schools of
It's a public entity. It's one of our biggest, I guess, employers in the community. I don't know, what's the board's take on that?
I'd say if they have more trash than they need picked up, we charge them. We're charging everybody else in town. That ain't no different.
I mean, if we were a private hauler,
Right,
we're not gonna go out and pick up anybody for free.
right.
Well, every other utility, you're electricity, you're charging them
Yeah,
for extra,
water, charge.
yeah, extra water, you're having to charge them. So this is a service just the same.
And it's not, if it was a huge amount, and yeah, that's exactly right.
I mean, so you would actually be cutting this out. I mean, if you're saying it's a premise, you're actually cutting this out of that premise and saying, well, but this is a special case.
Correct.
Yeah.
And Columbia doesn't charge us less per ton if it came from
The school.
the school.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe they would, if we asked.
I'll run that by you.
Yeah. You wanna address the city council next?
I don't know, if you're building your rationale, I think you're building it across the board. You're not building it and then cutting off this one thing as a different rule.
I mean, there are a couple, Anchorfest, we have now contracted with Danes, and then we just pay them as one of our helps to Anchorfest. But other than that, or Relay for Life, when there is a once a year kind of event.
Right.
All right.
That makes sense. DNR site visit to landfill.
I went ahead and copied and put in the packet the cover letter. There was a checklist that went with it, but basically we had a clean visit. No unsatisfactory features observed. They do want us to take care of some woody growth that is starting up on the slopes. It's a little bit difficult to mow it, but we'll brush hog it, make sure it gets done. They don't care if we don't, they understand now is not the time to do this. Time to do this is in late fall, or even after it freezes perhaps. But, being careful that.
After it dries up.
Yes.
Yeah.
They made it clear, what's the doctor's oath where you don't do no harm.
Yeah.
It's sort of that principle. Don't go tear up the landfill to knock down a few woody stubs. And they found a couple of old, very minor leachate breakouts, which they noted, but they did not cite us for. So it was overall a very good visit. Then we started talking about all the problems in Fulton.
You distracted them, didn't
Do what I have to.
Storm sewer, accepting bid from storm sewer lining.
We got a bid at the beginning of the year, which you can see the last two pages, the second two pages in the pages 2 and 3 of the bids. They're significantly higher than the bid from ISCO. Are they both in there?
Mm-hmm.
This goes in there and the other one too.
Ace pipe cleaning.
Yeah, Ace Pipe Cleaning, 2 from Ace Pipe Cleaning, yeah. However, the ISCO bid is simply the pipe, and then they would supply it, and we could either hire the labor done or put it in ourselves. I talked about it with Phil. He would prefer that we just go with the, and Phil did interview several other firms at the beginning of the year. And I actually talked to another company that was on a list that I got from Columbia. It turns out they're the company that does the installation for Ace. So they might come and look at the project next week. But so at this point, I'm recommending that we go with the original bid that we used to form the budget for this year, because we know, because the staff has most confidence that this solution will work. We have other projects coming up. We'll talk with ISCO and see if their solution would work. Their solution is to slide a HDPE pipe inside of the existing corrugated, and then they grout it in. One of the culvert under Jefferson is 72 inches wide by 36 inches tall. It's significantly oblong. They do oval shaped inserts, the other company, but at that much out of round, they suggested putting in 2 pipes. By using a smooth HDPE on the inside, they say they can get as much flow as they could, because the corrugated reduces flow because it has a rippled surface.
I'm afraid we're gonna lose a lot of surface area though, putting 2 pipes in there and filling it all in.
I'm a little reluctant.
I'm-
That's a wide pipe. Though.
Yeah.
That is a very wide pipe.
We're losing a lot of area in there. We're trying to put 2 pipes in there. That is my biggest concern.
Is there another way of handling that?
A third way?
Yes, other than 2 pipes?
Digging it up and starting from scratch.
Well, these are all solutions that will not require us to shut the road down, tear it up. I don't know of a third solution, and we have not found one. He's talked to in C2 Forum. We've talked to some other vendors, and it was not. There are other vendors out there. I did not hear back from them. These are the 2 solutions that we know of that will work, and I could do additional research. I'm getting concerned that we're going to run out of time this fiscal year to get it done.
Yes.
And one of the reasons why we pushed it into this and skipped the Mile Street ditch and the GIS study that we looked at stormwater this year was because we were concerned that the deterioration of the pipe might actually eventually lead to some deterioration of the road.
Catastrophic failure.
And with the worst case scenario, catastrophic failure in Jefferson Street, which would be bad.
There's a lot of truck
So the
traffic
2 options
going
are,
over
one is the 2 pipes, what's the other option?
Oh, the other option is the original Ace Pipe Cleaning, where they're going to do some structural improvement with concrete, and then do a lining similar to an in situ form kind of lining.
They'll go in there and they'll patch all the rust holes in it. Then they'll set the machine in there and they'll spray concrete, several layers of concrete inside the thing. So it will be a slick pipe when they're done too.
Okay.
It will no longer
Which the coefficient will be a lot
Right.
better than that
Well,
corrugated.
the corrugated, with it being rusted out, it's not good much.
Yeah.
Right.
and it'll still be better than 2 pipes.
And
Yeah.
which one of the 2 options is the cheaper option at this point? Probably the 2 pipes.
The
The
2
two
pipes.
pipes.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2
So
pipes.
basically
and
saying,
different-
here's a couple pipes.
Yes.
Right. Well, they do come and hold your hand through the process. They can recommend, the pipes by themselves are $14,000. And I'm sure Phil's crew could do it. They have, with the storms, I'm reluctant to put more on their schedule this year.
Right. Well, I'd be a little reluctant to put in 2 pipes if we can fix it without.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think we're gonna lose, you know.
Well, for one
Water
thing,
carry.
2 pipes, I guarantee you, are gonna clog up faster than 1 pipe, simply with trash getting caught in it.
Yeah.
It always does.
So going against my city administrator instincts, I'm recommending the more expensive solution. I'm sorry, did I interrupt you?
No, that's
I wasn't sure that was a, okay, all right. So, yeah, I just wanted, we're on the same page. Okay. So I'm just looking for a motion to accept that bid. And we'll bring back a contracted engineer. Yeah.
All right, so we're looking for Ace to do it
Yeah.
for a total cost of $38,000, $36,800.
No, I'm sorry, you add the two of them together, and it is, I did not.
31,700.
Now let's see the one
31,700.
there.
31.7 and
36.8.
36.
It comes out to $68,500. However, they both have a mobilization fee in them, so the net should be $66,000.
If you lose the $2,500.
Right, $66,000, which is what we budgeted. I'm
I'll
looking
make a
for.
motion that we accept the two bids from Ace.
Second.
I have a motion and second to accept the two bids from Ace Pipe Cleaning for a total of $66,000. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Any other under Public Works? I would just like to take this opportunity to say thank you to the city crews that helped get the power back on and took care of all the trees that were down and cleaned up all the storm damage. Did an outstanding job, several hours of overtime, but appreciate the hard work that y'all did.
We never hired him. I don't know where you probably.
Hey, I live in
We live on the right side of town, Doc.
that. That's right. But huge tree, I went over there and saw a tree where they took out the wires and knocked down 3 telephone poles, and pretty significant.
Not the second storm, but the first storm, I did lose the top out of one of my trees.
Well, I got home from manual training about 2:30, 3 o'clock Sunday afternoon, and by about 4:30, I was out running around checking out the damage. So, good job, folks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other under Public Works? All right, Electric Department. Same thing for them there too. They did a heck of a job. I think we called in a couple other cities to come help us with the.
Yeah, we had Palmyra and Monroe City here for a little while. From us on Sim Street.
Maybe send them a thank you note or something.
Yes. I ran into them at McDonald's that night about 11:30. I think they went home, but you guys were.
We stayed till about 1 on that one to get it back on over on
Jenkins?
South Rollins. there.
South
Two
Carolina.
nights, or the Thursday previous, they'd come in at about 8 p.m. and worked to about 4 the next afternoon on another, so they got.
20 hours straight on that one, and about 8 hours on the other. And then, I mean, we're actually, then several days after that, we still got work along Sim Street to do in time. You know, we got
There was,
it band-aided for now, so.
we had a large limb on a house, which
Yeah.
normally would be a next day kind of thing, but it took, that was they prioritized absolutely correctly and did a great job, but there was a lot to do.
Yeah, that limb is off the house now. So it's in front of the house.
On the other side of the street.
It's on the other side of the street now, yeah.
It's,
That's all right.
Didn't it put a hole through the roof?
I don't think it
Yeah.
actually punctured the roof. It landed on top of the front porch.
Porch took most of the damage. Yes.
they can only get kind of TV channels out of Costa Rica now. But it had an impact, but it didn't actually go through the roof as far as I can tell.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Long-term power purchase update.
We are getting closer to bringing something to the council. We've had presentations to the Missouri, Mid-Missouri, the Missouri Municipal Group.
Saturday.
Yeah. Which includes Hannibal, Marceline, Caloca, Centralia, and maybe California. California hasn't made any meetings yet. Right now, it looks, last time I talked to you, we got a presentation from a company that was going to do manage a day-ahead schedule for us and purchase power like the big boys do. Buy some blocks and then the rest go out on the market for it. We got new bids back from Constellation, AP, and the prices are down in the mid-30s for the wholesale power. Now there's transmission and we've got some Prairie State costs, but that's much better than we're paying now. So at that level, I think we're probably going to go for a full requirements purchase again, and that gets rid of the only potential headache is we don't set the full peak high enough, and that can be negotiated if it looks like all of a sudden we take on a new industry, or Hubble expands again in a large way and is going to be using a lot more electricity. Those are all, it's only going to be a 3-year contract anyway. That's as far out as anybody will go. So I think I'm looking pretty firmly at full requirements. Only Hannibal is really interested still in the other approach, I think. And I think the recommendation from Bob Harbour right now is he has one favorite right now.
All right. Any other under electric department? Any other area? All right. As may arise, I have one. Had a citizen that resides just outside of the city of Centralia city limits ask about the process of getting hooked up to the city sewer.
We call that annexation, I believe.
Yep, that's what my recommendation was, voluntary annexation. I don't think the person or the person that's between the city limits and the person that talked to me's house wants to annex.
So they are contiguous with our current city boundary?
No.
Okay.
They live out across from where the old sawmill was, or the firehouse.
There is another possibility that I would consider, and that is if they do an annexation agreement, that when the city limits hits them, that they are automatically annexed at that time.
When I was in Columbia, we did that on a number of different occasions. It has to be a well-written contract, so that, but yeah, we're out. And there are models out there from which we can copy. Yeah. So that would not those.
Yeah, I don't know how many feet we're talking or anything like that. I'm sure that they would pay for the construction. I guess I don't know.
And with the information I have, it's probably feasible to provide that service to them.
Would they have to extend the sewer to them?
They would have to.
Right.
Well, yeah, but I mean, they can't tap into the line directly, can they?
There's a creek in between where he's talking about.
So they probably have to put another manhole in, at least one manhole.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, as long as there's an agreement in place, I mean, I don't, if you go beyond what is, if they're contiguous, they just annex as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
If they're not contiguous, they have to do an agreement that they will come in.
Yeah.
Columbia did that, years and years ago, they did not require that, and they have islands around there that they have no incentive to come in, but they're taking all city services.
Wow.
And because Columbia didn't require them to sign these contracts, at that time.
The only other thing with that is, just on the other side of the creek, not to mention name, the gentleman there is on city sewer, and we had to put a water meter in and work that out with District 10, because it is their region there, but we have to put a water meter in, so we've got something for sewer charges.
Right.
So we've got some kind of billing mechanism.
And he basically pays like a year at a time or something like that? Or?
It's worked pretty well. He likes to get ahead and then.
Fall down a little bit.
Then he might fall down a little bit, then he pays a bunch.
Does the other guy have an annexation agreement?
I can't remember how that was handled.
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't really matter as far as this one's concerned, I'm just
Yeah.
curious.
there is an agreement in a file, and I can show you, I haven't read it.
Okay.
We have, and of course, with sewer service, you can't flip a switch and turn it off.
Right.
That would kind of stink.
Or just put a cork in it. There's no
You really could put a cork in it.
Well, if you get far enough behind, you can dig it up and say.
Okay, yeah.
Well, if he's just a single manhole out there serving him only, you could.
Put a shut off on it and shut it off.
Yes, you could.
All right, we're pushing up to 8 o'clock here. Any more as may arises?
I have two things real quick.
Yes.
We'll welcome Donna back up front, you know, she's kinda had that
Yes.
thing, so it's good to see her back. And also on our, business spotlight of the month, it was on Facebook, so it must be true. A young man from this community went to D&D and had some work done on his vehicle. He's still active in the military. When he went to pick it up, they threw the bill in the trash. Not saying some other business wouldn't do that, but I believe every word of it. I know the guy. So it's the kind of folks we have right here in River City.
Very good. Thank you very much. Thank you to everyone that helped put the flags up and take the flags down for 4th of July. Bell ringing went very well. The fireworks display was just as amazing as ever. A couple of grand finales at the end. We made it happen. Yeah. Yes, there was an encore. Yeah. Encore grand finale.